and welcome back to another video. So today I wanted to talk about overrated movies because these aren't movies that aren't particularly bad, but I personally don't understand the appeal. I don't understand why they're so beloved necessarily. They're good movies. I enjoy the movies on this list. I get something from all of them. But I just don't understand why they're as loved as they are, or as held to such high caliber as they are. So yeah, I'm just going to talk about 3 that I think are overrated, and let me know which movies you think are overrated down in the comment section below. So the first movie I want to talk about is It from 2017. Now, I'm a big horror fan. I love horror movies. I love thriller movies. I love clown movies. I love gory movies. So on paper, this is the perfect movie for me. And it's okay. Like, I watched it about a year ago and I rewatched it the other day so it was fresh in my mind. But it's just, I remember being bored the first time I watched it, okay? And I'm not sure if it's because it's so long. I don't even know if it really is that long. It just feels like a long movie. And it doesn't really feel like a lot happens, other than the fact there's this clown, he's going around, he's killing kids. And that's the movie, and the kids are trying to work out what's happening, why, and how do we stop it. But they never really delve into the mythos as such. They never really go into it or explain any of it. And I don't really find it that compelling, because it's a very run-of-the-mill horror movie. But I remember when this came out, it was huge. Everyone was like, oh my god, have you seen it? Have you seen it? It's amazing. It is amazing. No pun intended. But I just didn't get it. And, you know, Pennywise is a big icon in pop culture now. And I just don't get why. Because he's not really that great of a villain either. I don't find him particularly scary. I find the CGI to be quite off-putting on him. I much prefer the original It Pennywise costume. I feel like that's more realistic. And I don't understand why people love it so much. I don't find the characters really compelling. And in a horror movie, you know what you're going in for. You want to be scared. You know that not everyone's necessarily going to make it out alive. But ultimately, the thing that draws you to a horror movie a lot of the time is the character and the concept. And the characters aren't particularly interesting, and neither is the concept. And I don't find the horror elements particularly scary. The only bit that I really remember as being kind of cool was the bathroom scene where blood comes out the sink and that. That's kind of a cool scene, but again, I don't really find it that scary or off-putting. I mean, I don't like this modern obsession with the Goonies style of movies, you know, of characters. Like in Stranger Things, they're a load of kids, they're young, they're having adventures. In the Goonies, it's the same thing. They do it with It. I just feel like I'm a little bit over it by this point. Like, it feels like it's done a lot, especially the last few years, and I just felt like I was over it by the time I'd seen It. And I really wanted to enjoy it. I did. And it was okay. But it wasn't amazing, and it wasn't as good as everyone had told me that it was. And I mean, I haven't watched the sequel because I have no interest in it, to be honest. So, yeah, I know, like, at the end of the first movie, Pennywise is just beaten up by a load of kids. Why didn't they just do that in the first place? This guy's an alien, and he gets, like, basically killed by a load of kids. And I'm just like, why has no one done that before? If it was that easy to kill him, why has no one done it? And I know that he comes back, but for the purpose of this movie, it just doesn't work. And, you know, I have no interest in revisiting it. I don't find the universe particularly interesting. But, you know, it's an okay movie, I guess. So, the second movie I want to talk about, and this is one that I feel like people are really going to disagree with, because people always disagree with me when I bring this up, and that's The Lion King from 1994, the original animated version. And I've seen it a few times. I've seen the live action one. It's fine. It's a fine movie. It's good. That's it. People make out like it's the greatest movie of all time, and it's the best animated thing in the world, and it's the best thing Disney have ever done. They made a bleeding West End musical out of this film about a load of lions prancing around. And I don't get it. I like it, it's good, but I don't love it. It's just okay. I don't understand what I'm missing. Maybe I'm just an idiot and it's too intelligent for me, but I don't get it. It's the same with all of these movies. I just don't understand the appeal, and The Lion King is one of those where I like it, I don't love it. And I don't find Simba a very interesting protagonist. You know, he just sort of moans for the first act of the movie, and then when his dad dies, I've always had an issue with this, and no one ever seems to point it out. When his dad dies, Scar comes over, and he's like, oh, Simba, you killed him, it was your fault. And Simba just accepts that. Simba's just like, oh yeah, it was my fault, I better run away. And he doesn't ever think, damn, I killed my dad, maybe I should confess, maybe I should tell these people, maybe I should speak to my mother, instead of just ditching her. Maybe, you know, this is my kingdom now. He's a bad king, okay? He inherits that kingdom as soon as Mufasa dies. Mufasa dies, and Scar says, it was your fault, Simba. And Simba's like, I better run away from my kingdom, my family, because I'm scared. I get that he's a little kid, but it shouldn't be that easy for Scar to manipulate him and convince him that, yeah, you're responsible for this. And then at the end of the movie, right, Simba comes back and is like, oh my god, everyone, you know, I killed my dad. It was a pain. It was a whole thing. I did it. Soz. And first of all, why didn't he just do that before? But second of all, everyone's just sort of like, nah, Simba, nah, mate, you didn't do it. And Scar's like, no, he didn't do it. I did it, actually. I was the one who done killed his dad. And I'm there like, hang on a minute, why would you just confess that? You've got away with this for what seems like a couple of decades. And then randomly, just because Simba shows back up, and because the plot needs him to, Scar just confesses, and he's just like, yeah, I done killed his dad, and then I blamed it on him. Why? It always irritates me when movies do that, when the villain just confesses their plan and their wrongdoings because the plot needs them to. In real life, that wouldn't happen. Simba would be like, I killed him. Everyone would be like, you killed him. Why? You're a dickhead. And that would be it. I just, like, Scar wouldn't confess. He just wouldn't. I mean, sure, the animation is impressive. I mean, maybe it's not as impressive for me because it's not my era. I grew up with the likes of Toy Story and Pixar, so I can respect 2D animation, but, you know, it's hard for me to judge what is good 2D animation because I grew up on 3D animation and CGI and stuff like that. But, I mean, sure, the world's nice and the characters are alright. Some of the jokes are funny. I like Pumbaa and the little meerkat thing. They're funny, I appreciate that. And fun bit of trivia. This is the first Disney movie to include a fart. And I hate that I know that. That's just, whenever anyone brings up The Lion King, that's the thing that I go to say. The fact that that's what I remember about this movie tells me that it's not really a movie that I love. And it's a shame because I really want to love it a lot more than I do. Because I understand it's a Shakespeare retelling. I love Shakespeare. It's about these lions. It's about a kingdom and everyone loves it. And it's a musical and all this. I just don't get it. It's a nice movie, but if I never watch it again, I'll live. And the last movie I want to talk about today, again, I feel like it's one that people will disagree on quite a bit, is The Lord of the Rings, The Fellowship of the Ring, the first Lord of the Rings movie. And again, I respect it for everything that it did. This is probably the movie out of the three that I spoke about that I respect the most for what it did with practical effects, special effects, character. They go to New Zealand to film a lot of it. I like that. It's not all done on a green screen. But, you know, I watched the first one, Fellowship of the Ring. I watched this about a year ago, around Christmas. And I enjoyed it. It was okay. Again, it was really long. Maybe I've just got a short attention span, but I just found it really long and a bit of a chore to get through. I was like, I'm a movie fan, I need to watch Lord of the Rings, you know. I watched the first one and I was like, that was fine. I guess I should probably watch the next one. And I just never have. And the fact that I've never had an interest in finding out what happens, what the next bit of this saga is, I've never had an interest in The Hobbit, that kind of says it all. The fact that I watched the first one and was like, that was okay, and then didn't bother with any of the others. There are 6 movies in this goddamn franchise. I watched 1, that was enough. And it's like 8 hours long, or at least it feels like it. And again, Peter Jackson is a great director. I like a lot of his stuff, you know? But this just doesn't quite hit me the way that it seems to hit a lot of other people. And it's not even like I don't have childhood memories of it, you know? I remember watching it with my cousins. And I remember, you know, my cousins were obsessed with it. I remember playing with some Lord of the Rings action figures that they'd given me. So it's not like I don't have the fondness of it related to my childhood. Because I do, but even then I was just a bit like, oh, so there's this ring and it's magic and they're all bothered about it. I just don't think that's a great concept. I know there's more to it, but that's the bottom line, isn't it? There's this magical ring that Mordor made. And that kind of drives the plot of 6 movies. Can you imagine if I came onto this channel one day and I was like, oh yeah, my ring on my finger. I'm going to make 6 movies out of it. You know, I'm going to throw in a few dwarves and maybe the odd wizard. But, you know, that's my idea. You would look at me like I was insane. And that is Lord of the Rings, you know. It's, again, it's okay. It's not great. It's not a great movie for me. And I really want to understand what people see in it that I'm missing. Because to be honest, I couldn't even tell you really what happens in it, or the characters, or even the difference between the characters, to be honest. So please let me know what I'm missing from this movie, because I want to love it. But I don't. Is it because I've not finished the trilogy? Is that why? Is it one of those you enjoy more in hindsight? I don't know. Again, it's fine. And I think that's the thing with all 3 of these movies. They're fine movies. I'll watch them. They're okay. They're just not amazing. They're not like Star Wars. They're not Endgame. You know, they're not like that for me. They're just movies that are there. But for most people, they are the likes of their Star Wars and their Endgame. So please tell me what I'm missing from this movie, and also It 2017 and The Lion King as well, because I'm just clearly not getting something here. And that's my list for today, my discussion. Thank you for coming to my channel again and listening to me ramble on about a load of movies. And yeah, let me know your thoughts on these 3 movies that you think are also overrated, and things that you would like to see me discuss in the future. I'm happy and I'm open to suggestions. So yeah, thank you again for stopping by, and thank you all for your support. Wow, imagine not being able to say thank you for your support.